The competition that makes me extremely jealous of everyone who lives in Europe, the Six Nations. And who knows, this may actually be the last Six Nations we ever see. By the end of this video, hopefully you have an insight into every team and what to expect from them this Six Nations, which can hopefully give you the edge over family and friends when talking rugby. Make sure you check the comment section at the end of this video. There's some really well-informed people who watch my content and they'll add a lot of value to what I'm about to say. Let's start with France. They've built their entire winning streak on defensive foundations, which is kind of turning into the world rugby meta at the moment. While not dropping a game in 2022, they actually had the least amount of time with ball in hand and they were second last in meters made and carries. What is different about France is they don't really contest kicks. They actually just kick for distance most of the time. France have a few injuries floating around, Dante and Waki most notably. Although they have incredible depth, they'll be praying they make it through the first few rounds relatively injury free as they have a stack of fringe players also out injured. While they're sitting as World Cup favourites, I reckon their win streak will end this Six Nations. With some of the Northern Hemisphere heavyweights given so much time to prepare for France's hands-off playstyle, you can't help but to think someone's going to beat them. The mighty Azzurri have been somewhat of a surprise packet over the last 12 months. Pulling off some major upsets and growing as a team tremendously. They've unearthed a few global superstars in Capuzzo and Fischetti, with many young talented studs lining up alongside them. For once in a long time, we see an Italian side that has players playing their role and position right across the park. They've actually become quite an attacking threat who can pile on points at any moment. Their playstyle is similar to what you'll see from New Zealand teams that are willing to have a crack at any moment and love turning opposition defensive lines around with an unpredictable kicking game. While Italy have improved out of sight under Crowley, they'll be missing their chief in command, Garbisi, during the Six Nations, so expect them to be pegged down a few notches this campaign. Keep an eye out though, he might be back for the Wales-Scotland games mid-March, but don't expect them to win any games this tournament. Whatever you thought about Wales in 2022, be prepared to completely flip the script. Warren Gatland will be in full effect as the new coach, and the team that could hardly score a try to save themselves last year, pretty suspect in defence and were just unable to control a set piece, will be desperate for change. Wales had a pretty good run under Warren Gatland previously, and they were actually pretty exciting to watch then. They used big players really well, bending the line, and simply just looked for mismatches to take advantage of. However, his coaching has definitely evolved over time, and now this may be new information to many people watching, but last year while he was coaching the Chiefs in Super Rugby, they scored a ton of tries. They were third in the competition for tries scored and ran the ball more than any other team. They also had 100% line-out success and the second best scrum in the competition. This should be music to the ears of Wales fans. Sure, it's a different group of players, but his strengths are Wales' weakness at the moment. It's also definitely an uphill battle for Gatland with the Welsh regions all sitting in the bottom 8 of the United Rugby Championship. Expect them to be competitive in most games, if not every game, this series. Ireland have a very experienced and mature team at the moment who have fully embraced the running rugby revolution. You can compliment Ireland for their world-class attack at the moment, finding the smallest of gaps to bust the line, a determined defensive unit and dominant set piece followed with really creative set plays. But the one thing Ireland will continue to bring to every contest is this fight until the last second, mental bloody toughness. With such a competitive international scene at the moment, Ireland's mental strength as a team is what manages to get them over the line so often in these tight contests. Unlike most of the top sides at the moment, Ireland have the outcome of a match in their hands literally every game. If they manage to get through 80 minutes with little errors, they'll find the winning edge over France. At the same time, if they're having an off day, they'll be in for an absolute fight to get the win against any opposition. Scotland. Probably the hardest team to give you some tips on because I don't think anyone knows what to expect week in, week out. Scotland are kind of in this constant state of reacting to the opposition team, not really getting proactive on the front foot. No matter how much Gregor Townsend has tried to outfin Russell, when he plays for Scotland, their backline has a lot of flair and scores some cracking tries. But then they'll randomly switch to a kick and defend, let's not play rugby anymore game plan. It feels like we haven't really seen the best from Scotland yet, given their team on paper. With that said, I don't think Scotland will have a good Six Nations campaign at all, for a few reasons. The coach has been applying for roles in France for after this year's World Cup. There's a disgruntled fly half, and arguably the best winger in 2022, Darcy Graham, is out injured at the start of the tournament. And now England. With Steve Borthwick taking the reins, expect a game plan that heavily relies on playing for territory, defending like absolute animals, and looking for opportunities to capitalise on. England's points to Six Nations will likely start with an Owen Farrell kick, followed up by an opposition mistake or penalty given away, and then a line-out maul try or 3 points over the crossbar. There's a possibility this team makes plenty of mistakes if they haven't quite gelled yet with the new game plan. But with the form of the England players in the Prem, they can beat anyone, seriously. If you watched my last video on everything Borthwick will bring to the England side, there's a lot more elaborations on what I'm talking about. Who knows if each of the points I've made will come to light. Let me know anything I may have missed, and I hope this video helped.